Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Ministry, the bank, foundation for organizing this conference on a very important subject. I would also like to thank organizers for giving me this opportunity to share JEEVIKA's work for financing for inclusive growth. Next. If we look at the scale of operation in Bihar, we have formed more than 1 million self-help group, and we have brought more than 1.3 crore households under its fold, which is half of the state population. And we can say that it is the democratic model of inclusion in true sense. The credit linkage has crossed 30,000 crore rupees mark, but it has not been very long when just to have a saving account of all the individuals was a part of national aspiration. We all know that before Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana came into existence, more than 43% of adults were not having their saving account. And it was a harsh reality coupled with very adverse CD ratio in Bihar at that point of time. In 2006, when JEEVIKA started its operation for poor women in the state, our CD ratio was just 28%. And in this background, we started operating. Next. So we need to understand what were our challenges at that point of time and what we did right to ensure financial inclusion and inclusive growth of the community. So first we rolled out a uniform books of records for community institutions, which was based on accounting principles. We worked on capacity building of very less educated women, mostly they were non-matriculate, and we adopted indigenous methodologies and simulated case studies. Today we have more than 1 lakh women who are working as community professionals, and they are preparing all financial documents like profit and loss statement, receipt and payment, balance sheet. So this thing we did it to the core. For policy advocacy, first we became member of SLBC, DLCC and BLBC. We also signed MOUs with separate banks for SHG credit linkage, and we deployed bank mitras in bank branches to act as relationship managers. We also had some innovative practices. For example, initially when our BPMs, our field functionaries used to go to bank for account opening, they were refused for this simple reason that banks were not having adequate number of account opening forms. So what we did at that time, we gathered knowledge about the printing press where banks used to get their application form printed, and we started printing those documents, loan forms, account opening forms, and we started distributing to our JEEVIKA groups. So from this basic innovation, we also hired some ex-bankers to work as financial inclusion consultants in Bihar, and there was some lack of confidence in bankers. They were afraid that this kind of loans can turn into NPA. And when we gave them example of Andhra, Parmesh sir is here. So Parmesh sir was only telling me when we met last that we started sending bank managers in a small batches to Andhra just to gain confidence. So this kind of innovative practices we adopted at that time. Then we are also exploring the convergence options with other government departments, Department of Industry, Department of Agriculture, Animal Husbandry, Health Department, just to expand our enterprise canvas. We identified insurance as risk mitigation tool, and for poor people it's very difficult to convince them about the importance of insurance, but we started celebrating Bima Utsav just to spread awareness among community. Today, we have 5,000 bank sakhis who are working as CSPs, and they have done transaction worth rupees 9,700 crore so far, and they have also earned commission of 23 crore rupees. Next. So if you see the slide, today our women SHGs are managing a portfolio of 35,000 crore rupees. How do we calculate this 35,000 crore rupees? The bank outstanding is more than 14,500 crore rupees. We have done 11,000 crore rupees of project financing. Their own saving is 2,000 crore rupees. That all comes to 27,000 crore rupees. And we add 1.25 rotational value. This comes to 35,000 crore rupees. And we have this potential to grow up to 75,000 crore rupees by the end of this decade. Next. So, if we talk about the financial health, so we cannot deny the importance of insurance. So, here I would like to highlight that under Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana, JEEVIKA has share of 70% of what the whole state of Bihar is having today under this scheme. So, we highlighted the importance, and we prepared our community mobilizer to convince the community, the women, and last year we did almost 60 lakh insurance for women under PMJJBY and 53 to 55 lakh under PMSBY. Next. So, bank Sakhi I have already mentioned, but here I would like to share an experience. They have become face of rural banking today. Last year, I accompanied NN Sinha sir, the then Secretary MORD, to a village in Vaishali district. There we interacted with a bank Sakhi and her father-in-law. So her father-in-law proudly told us that his daughter-in-law is recognized as Banker Didi by the villagers. So apart from financial upliftment, this intervention is also adding to their socio-cultural status in community. So this point I would like to highlight here. Next. So I have been given very short span of time, so I would like to highlight what is the way forward from here. So though Amit ji told me not to focus on Gramin Civil, but I would like to highlight on this forum, giving an example. We have one SHG in Khijarsarai block of Gaya district. That SHG has taken 22 lakh rupees as loan. One of our Didi has taken 4 lakh rupees loan with 100% repayment. But when the same lady goes to bank, she has no CIBIL score. She has 0 CIBIL score. So this is the high time when we explore a kind of system where bank honors our bookkeeping, our financial record, because this can open a huge potential for individual financing. We also need to work on new financial products other than the livelihood expenses, the consumption expenses. We also need to introduce individual financing, enterprise financing, housing products, education loan for our community members. Here I would like to mention that we have already started working with MicroSafe through BMGF on individual enterprise financing. We are also working on having our own Srinidhi type of financial institution or a fintech company in recent future. The last point I would like to highlight that we successfully piloted Loco system in few of our blocks in Bihar, and now we are scaling it up to all 534 blocks, and NRLM has recognized as NRO for this project. So once it is done, we may have a proof of concept, because then we'll have SHG to member loaning in digitized form. Then we can maybe that point of time we can convince banks for the first point, that is Gramin Civil. Next. So that's all from my side. This is the scenario of financial inclusion and financing for inclusive growth in Bihar. Thank you.